guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today we are going to be making a shaped card. We are going to be using this apron die along with the add-on barbecue set, and then this little sentiment set which matches so well the stamps and dies for that as well. That's called Kiss the Cook. We're going to be using some pattern paper to make our apron and some metallic paper for our utensils. And really there is Copic coloring, but there's very minimal stamping. So to start off, to make our shaped card, I am going to cut my base because I want there to be a pattern. So I'm going to cut my base out of this, oh, why am I at a loss for words? What do we call that? Gingham, that's what we call it. Out of this gingham paper. And then in the die, there's also like the string that would go around the top of the apron, a pocket, and then a kind of like inset. That's the piece that's on the white that you would use on the inside of the card. I'm actually going to use it on the inside and the outside so that my gingham looks like a trim instead of being the entire pattern for the whole apron. I have some silver metallic cardstock that I'm going to cut my utensils out of. I'm also going to cut some of their pieces parts, like the handles. The handles match everything, which is super nice. And I will cut those out of black so that everything matches. And then the other parts that you see me laying down, like the little bottles, which there's like a ketchup bottle, a little mustard squeezy, I colored it as a beer bottle because that's my husband. But it could also be like, I'm totally going to butcher the pronunciation of this. Worcestershire, wash your sister, whatever that sauce is called. That sauce. It could also be that. But anywho. So originally I was going to go with the pocket for the apron that was included in the original set, but I decided I was going to go with the more detailed one that's included in the backyard barbecue add-on. If you love this apron, they also have another one that's a garden add-on that's super cute that has all kinds of like gardening tools in it. This is an older set, so if you have never seen it before, it's still really great to make cards with. So for the pocket, because it is intended to be a actual pocket, it cuts these little side and bottom flaps. So what you see me doing here is just kind of like pre-folding them and then really scoring them well with my small bone folder from Honeybee. And this will allow me to adhere the tabs and have the pocket still kind of stick out from the card so that we can tuck in all our cute little die cuts. Very, very adorable. So originally my game plan was not to do a shaped card. I was just going to do the regular apron and then put it on an A2 size card. But that did not end up working out for me. It also, the main piece cuts out these two little slits at the top that you can tuck your little necktie into. So I like to dry fit everything just to make sure I'm happy with how it's looking. And then once I am good with that, then I will go in and start adding my detail. You could absolutely put this together without adding any detail to it, but I think we all like when our cards really come to life. And adding that little bit of dimension with some markers or colored pencils, or if you did this on watercolor paper, you could use watercolors, I think really changes it from just like oh, that's cute, to like, wow, you made that kind of card. So I did pick some darker reds since I cut this out of red cardstock, and I am adding my shading where the necktie portion tucks in and along the inside edge you saw me do. And then for this one, because it has two pockets, I'm adding just a little shading down the middle and then along the sides and the bottom. You would have to match this kind of to the cardstock that you chose, because I chose red because it's my husband's favorite color. And if you watched one of my videos, the video of the card I actually gave him this year, I mentioned in there that I had actually made him a different card before I realized it wasn't on theme. This is the card that I originally made for Father's Day. However, I could totally repurpose this for a birthday card, like a masculine birthday card. So that is my intention. I'll just have to cut another insert and swap it out. So once I have my darkest color down, then I'm just going to blend it out with my other red markers. So I have like a mid-tone and then I have a lighter red. And you have to also remember with alcohol markers, if that's what you choose to use, they do go down a bit darker and then they will kind of dry back once that alcohol evaporates. So this little one is going to be my ketchup bottle. So I'm doing the lid like a silvery gray. I also, because I wanted to break up the red, since I have a red pocket, I didn't want to stick the red bottle in the red pocket and have no breaks. I'm using the grays to do just like a little bit of a label. Now you're not really going to see a ton of that label, but it will be enough to break it up between the pocket and the ketchup bottle. So I'm adding shading in the neck because obviously those things are closer together and you would have shadows there, and then kind of down around the bottom. Then I will take my mid-tone, I will fill in the rest of the outside edges of the bottle and the majority of the bottom. So the sides and the bottom. The lightest point is going to be just underneath the neck of the bottle, where it would kind of be the fullest without the label. If I was doing this without the label, the lightest part would be the that middle section all the way down. So just kind of getting a general label shape there. Again, it's going to be tucked into the pocket, so I don't have to be too concerned about it. For the oven mitt, which I think is very, very cute, I wanted it to match the apron, but I did still want it to have some dimension. So I chose some cool grays to add some shadows, just like if I was coloring something white. And that kind of half moon you see at the top is going to give it the look as if there's two layers and you could actually stick your hand in there. And then I will add a little bit of shading kind of like from the left and right hand sides, but the vast majority of this I will leave just as the pattern. When you're coloring something white, the same thing applies here. We're just adding the shadows. For the other, I told you this is going to be the little mustard bottle. You could certainly do this as like, if your significant other has like a black stone, you could do this as oil. They use a lot of oils on the black stone. So you could, turn this into lots of different things. Soy sauce, if they're doing like hibachi on the black stone, lots of things that this could be. But I just went with the nice and easy ketchup and mustard because in our household, we typically do host. Just like we just had the 4th of July and we did host that as well. And like there may be a bunch of other things on the menu that people will bring, but 9 times out of 10, there will be hamburgers and hot dogs that are cooked on the grill. No, 10 times out of 10. Like, I don't even think we know how to make anything else. So as I explained earlier, this could be a bunch of different things as well. I went with a beer bottle because that's what my husband enjoys while he is outside grilling in the heat. So I did go for some warmer browns. But one of the things about a beer bottle is it typically has like that amber kind of color. So I went in with warmer browns and I also pulled that YR24 just to help. I'm not using it for the shading necessarily, but I am using it to bring in kind of that amber color to the bottle so that it looks like a traditional beer bottle. For the utensils, because I cut them out of silver and the handles out of black, I really didn't need to do any shading here. I did have to kind of modify some of the die cuts a little bit, so I ended up cutting the back of the tongs twice. So I cut the full tong in silver, and then I cut just the back of it out of black so that I could add those little details to them. And then I did the same thing for kind of the basting brush. I left the handle, like the middle part of the handle silver, and I changed the top of the basting brush to black because those traditionally are not, any sort of metal. They're, a fuzzy little brush. But the nice thing about these is, like I said before, the handles are all the same size. So when you cut that, I think it has 5 handles in it. When you cut that piece, there's no mistakes being made. Each one of those will fit whatever you put on it because all the handles are the same. So there are some items in here that like I don't think you would traditionally use, or at least we don't, like the, big chef's knives or stuff. But it does help to fill out the card. So that is why I cut them. I cut them just so I would have more handles kind of tucked in. And the ones that I would normally see, like the little, what do they call that? Like the pronged one, the pronged fork. That one is sticking up. The spatula is sticking up. Obviously, we don't want to do our knives sticking up because that's dangerous. Even on a card, we don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. So I just went through and I did use my glue press to adhere these because I have a very fine nib on it. But you could, I mean, whatever kind of fine tip you have would work great. So I wanted there to be something on the apron that would make it more interesting. So I went with the Grill Master. I did consider going with Kiss the Cook, but since I was doing this, obviously this is from me to my husband, so the you're smoking hot makes sense. But really, I mean, you could use this for your dad and just not do that one, just do like Best Dad Ever or Grill Master and leave it at that. So for the you're smoking part, just to have, again, just some more added interest, and to help it kind of stand out, I am doing our Brilliant White Pigment ink on black. I am heat embossing that with a fine detail embossing powder, and just kind of cleaning up any areas that I need, and then I will heat set that until it is smooth. So speaking of the 4th of July, so we just went, we did have everybody over. We also at that time celebrated my nephew getting into dental school, since we were all going to be together anyway. And, but we had, I told you guys I was so excited to go swimming. Like we finally got the pool heater set up and I was super excited to go swimming. And because this is the truth, things like this happen, I swear to you, because we got the pool heater, it basically rained all day. And it was like a little chilly, honestly. So that was kind of a bummer. I was looking forward to taking my kids swimming, and I don't think anybody got in the pool at all. So, but the next day, my wonderful husband took our son swimming, and he had some buddies over, so they spent like 3 or 4 hours in the pool, and we're super excited about that. So I'm glad somebody got some use out of it. My intention is, right now as I'm doing this, it is nap time for my little jelly bean. And so my intention, once I'm done with this, is to use the rest of nap time to at least go sit on the deck and maybe get some sunshine, a little vitamin D in my life while I read my book for book club. So here, I'm trying to enjoy the weather, guys. I'm trying. The weather didn't always want to cooperate. So you can see we have glued down the necktie portion, and you're going to see we're going to have to switch that around. But then we did the Grill Master part just so that the gingham was a kind of a trim, and then we've added the pocket. Now, I did mess around with this till I was happy with how they were looking before I started gluing everything together, and I spared you that because I did mess around with it a lot. But for the most part, everything stayed pretty much just like this. I'm just going in with the with my tweezers, which I was never a tweezers person. I was always like, I don't need them. And then I got my set of tweezers and I desperately needed them. So I'm just going to go in, the little, what are those? The little tongs things I did leave on the outside. Again, we're just looking for some things that, not everything looks the same, and it does add interest. I should mention, speaking of 4th of July, there's tons of sales still going on. Honeybee also has a sale going on. They're offering an additional 20% off their sale section. The sentiments for this are in that section. They're being retired. But a lot of people don't know, and I share this on my channel pretty frequently, but Honeybee also carries a lot of other stuff. So in their sale section is not just wonderful Honeybee products of, stamps, dies, stencils, things like that, but there's also pastes, glitters, sequins, alcohol inks. There's all kinds of stuff in their sale section. So getting it at a discount and then an additional 20% off is really a very good deal. So I would encourage you to check that out. So here's where I realized that my card was not going to fit in an A2 sized envelope because I put my necktie up too high. So I pulled it off of the back. Now, thankfully, nobody's going to see the back, so it doesn't matter. But now I'm using an envelope here to just make sure that I can pull it up as high as possible and still have it fit in that envelope. And then I will go back in and re-glue it. This is also around about the time I decided that I was actually going to make a shaped card because I didn't like the way that it looked on an A2 base. So here's me trying to figure out how I'm going to put it on the base. And I'm like, nah, we're going to go back and just die cut some more. So I'm going to die cut the back of it out of a slightly darker red than we used for the front. I'm also going to die cut the side that will hold it together. That's what I'm doing there with the bone folder, and I cut that out of gingham. And this will hold the two pieces together to become a shaped card. And then because I now am using this as a shaped card, I cut another piece of the base out of white that I can put over the back here and have this be covered and nice and clean. I traditionally will, like birthday cards or Father's Day cards, whatever, I will write my husband a little kind of heartfelt note. So that would give you space to write a longer note if you're like me. I did have some adhesive that kind of got in the way there. That's what you saw me doing there with the eraser. And then now I will take this kind of insert that we used on the front to create the trim. I will now put that on the inside of the card, and you're going to see that I will stamp the Happy Father's Day. You want to do any of your stamping on the inside of the card before you actually put the two pieces together, or you can run into some issues with maybe not having enough room, like if your stamp positioner is like a mini Misty, and you need a full-size Misty. Like I said, I chose Happy Father's Day. Since I did not use it for Father's Day, I will be able to swap out those pieces. I'll just stamp another insert and then put it over top. But I think these are really super cute for like a more masculine card. I know a lot of us struggle with that. And there's some people who, they're like, but masculine cards are flowers or, whatever I have, I give. I don't, they don't make a different kind of card for somebody, whether they're male or female. I try to make my cards kind of fit my recipient for, whomever I am giving it to. So this one, this Grill Master, You're Smoking Hot kind of thing is definitely fitting from me for my husband because he does do all the grilling. I'm honestly afraid of it. Like, that's just the truth. The grill scares me. So because I didn't do this originally, and I'm kind of doing it after I built the card, I did have to trim down the front portion of the connector piece. I just had to trim like 1/8 of an inch off so that I could fit it next to the pocket. So now I then had to put another piece of the tear tape on there, and now it will fit nicely. I'll just slide it in next to the pocket underneath that little prong fork thing that I still don't have a name for. And then I will get it lined up with the top and the bottom because you don't want it to come up too high and change the shape of your card. So once I have that there, then I will be able to put my back on, make sure they're nice and lined up, and then I will fold that piece over once I'm sure that they are perfectly aligned. So normally I would do like the sequins and all of that stuff. I am not going to totally skip out on the shimmer. I'm going to add a little bit to the ketchup bottle, the mustard, and the beer bottle. And then I'm going to do some white highlights along the same things, along the different bottles. And then this a la Christina Warner, I don't even know when she stopped doing. Maybe she hasn't stopped doing it. Maybe she still is. But I used the white gel pen to add a little bit of a stitching detail onto the pocket because, again, we're just trying to add interest. So that is my shaped masculine card. I hope that you guys are inspired to kind of color your die cuts and bring them to life. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.